Oh, what's going on, beautiful people? Hold on, make sure I got my lighting right. Oh, there we go. Much better. Much better. What's up, beautiful people? Got my beat playing in the background. Let me turn that down a little bit. Okay, today we are talking about a pretty serious topic. We talking about drugs, y'all. We talking about drugs. So I thought it would be helpful for a lot of the people who are subscribers to my channel and who care about their mental health to talk about this topic. Just because there's been a lot of talk about drugs, specifically during this time because of what's happening to my man DMX. So I think we're going to start off with that. We're going to start off with just addressing DMX, his whole situation. I'll talk about my journey with drugs and it's been a journey. It's definitely been a journey. So I'll talk about like how drugs have affected me in the past, how they still affect me now, because I'll talk about my current use of drugs and all that stuff as well. So let's get straight to it. First and foremost, positive vibrations, prayers up, everything positive that we can put towards the brother DMX, all the positive energy towards his family, his friends, wishing him nothing but speedy recovery. Hopefully by the time this video goes up, I know I'm live, but maybe by the time it's done rendering, he'll be up and at it. Maybe he'll make a dope record about all the things he's been through, because he turns his pain into art, which is something that I'll discuss in another video. But just wanted to send those healing vibrations out to DMX first and foremost. Brother, I hope you're gonna do a full recovery and be back in your light, man, just doing your thing. So for those of you who don't know, and I honestly don't know all the details because I try to stay out of like social media land outside of me talking about mental health and putting out music and being positive. But obviously this came across my feed just because it was such a huge story. It's DMX, man. This is, I don't know how old or young anybody else is who's watching this. I'm 30 years old. I just turned 30 March 22nd. You know what I mean? Shout out to my 91 babies. But yeah, I just turned 30, and I remember when DMX came out. I was still in like elementary school. I also remember when 50 Cent came out and all that other stuff, but that's a whole other story as well. But I just remember the energy, man, the rawness of this dude's records, and the way he put words together was unorthodox. It was like, you ever meet somebody who could rap but didn't know it? It was like that. It was like he was like somebody who could rap effortlessly, almost to the point of like he didn't even know he could rap, but then had the vibrato, the masculinity, the confidence that flowed through almost every record that he was on. Even when he was being vulnerable, him even having the raspiness, the for example, when you are speaking in public, some people even like on a live or something like this, something might happen where their voice cracks up because they're getting emotional or they might be nervous or something like that. That happens. DMX on records would do that in the same vein of when you're crying and you kind of tear up, you get a little emotional, like that happens. He'll say that within the rasp of his voice. You could feel the pain that he was going through when he was talking about certain subject matters, whether it was his drug use or abuse, loss of family and friends, or just being in the industry that was kind of foul. He talked about all those issues, and relationships as well. But I think his way of communicating those things and putting it in the music was what kind of distinguished him from other artists. So, again, just wanting to wish him positive vibes and healing. But I'm gonna use DMX as a cautionary tale. DMX is somebody, if you followed him even in a little bit, you know that he struggled with drugs because he's been honest about that, and that's one thing I always appreciate, and I think why he always has fans. Like, he's authentic, he's real, he's not faking it just to say, oh, everything's fine, everything's going wonderful. Like, no, he's kept it 100 with us. Like, I struggle with this. I struggle with this particular drug use, whether it be cocaine or other things. But I want to be sure that those who are watching or those who maybe have had drug use in the past, they don't go down the same path. So today we're going to be talking about drugs fully. And I'm going to start the conversation with me. So I'm going to talk about me. So my name, for those who don't know, Also Smart Productions. Real name, Onaje Smart. I'm a therapist, but I wasn't always this put together, if you even want to put it that way. But like, it's been a long journey towards my self growth and all those other things. And along the way, yeah, I dabbled in drugs, and I currently still smoke weed frequently. So I'll talk about that a little bit further. But I'll talk about my mindset when it came to drugs early on. I was one of those very cautious people when it came to any type of substance within my body. I was all up in those stupid programs that they have you in. The DARE program. That shit that did not work at all. I swear, every person who I know that was on the DARE program, they either smoke a lot of drugs or do even heavy, smoke a lot of weed, or do a lot heavier drugs than that. So that shit was a fail, a dub. Shout out to whoever created that. That was not a great idea. You need to update your formula, which is probably why I like talking about it, because if you're somebody who's, younger, who's watching this and is just looking to find out how to be the best artist you can be, along with taking care of your mental health, you're like, man, let me listen to this person who seems at least like he's gonna keep it real with me and not act like I've never done any drugs ever before. No, not me. I'm a therapist. I would never. Nah, keep it honest. So that's what that program was about. It was about, like, just say no. It was very pure, straight up and down. Drugs are bad. No to drugs. All drugs. Doesn't matter. Say no. Say no. Say it. So that was the mentality. And I think having that mentality without exploring the gray, that black or white thinking, yes to drugs or no to drugs, while exploring that gray area, is what leads a lot of people to abuse drugs, because they don't even know how to take them in moderation, or they don't even know how it affects them, and they don't know the relationship to the substance that they're intaking. And that's really the crux of what I want to talk about, is the relationship that you have with whatever you're taking. It could be anything. It could be coffee. If your relationship with that coffee is to the point where you're reliant on it and it affects your mood or attitudes, you might need to just adjust to that, or at least take notice of it and see if there's a better habit for you that would make your living situation even better. That's what it's about. But anyways, their program was trash. But it actually worked up until college, man. I didn't do any drugs up until college, for real. Real talk. Not even, no cap, like, no bullshit. I don't know how, to be honest, because I grew up in Newark, New Jersey, and access to drugs was not hard. Like, I would be walking downtown, and people would be like, yo, I got that loud. Like, yo, what's good? I got that perk. What's up? Like, people just on the low. People in the hood just be sliding by like, yo, got that loud. Just be passing by, just doing that shit. Easy. um, but fortunately, I guess maybe because of my just mentality of wanting to protect my mind, I always shied away or just didn't participate in all that. When I got to college, whoo, that's a different story. So when I got to college, I went to Hampton University. It's HBCU. For those who don't know what that is, that's a historically black college or university. We can go over more about that, but basically, it's a college or a university where majority of the students are black. It's for African American students. It was built there. It's an institution for us of higher learning. Because of some segregationist ties within the past, we had to build our own in order to teach our own, in order to develop and grow. So they're still here to this day. They're still very important. They still graduate a lot of doctors and professionals. Shoot, you talking to one, you know what I mean? Like, if it wasn't for Hampton, I wouldn't be here talking to y'all and be able to break down some of these concepts in a way that I hope is way more digestible than, reading it from a textbook. But yeah, in college, yeah, I might have dabbled here and there. So we'll start with alcohol, all right? I guess, like, the drug that I think is most acceptable in society, right? It's still a drug, but yeah, the sauce, I didn't start drinking until my sophomore year, actually, of college. So my whole freshman year, I was still turning up, still partying, doing all that other good stuff. But I was doing it sober. I actually didn't feel the need to drink, And I know that sounds really odd to some people, especially within the college atmosphere, because all people do in college is just, chug, chug, chug sometimes. But for me, I didn't feel the need to. When I did drink in college, I started off binge drinking because that was just like the culture, and I got fucked up. It was bad, y'all. Like, pretty blackout drunk at a party. Not good stuff. But learning experience. Everybody listening or watching, rather. That's why I tell these things, so that you don't necessarily go through the exact same thing that I went through, and maybe that you gain some perspective and understand how that impacted me. So there was one situation where I actually got a charge for drinking, drunk and intoxicated in public, which is like a pretty minor charge. But at the time, I was applying to grad school, and I'm over here thinking, fuck, I just fucked up. If they find out this shit's on my record, then, I ain't gonna get the scholarship. I'm not gonna be able to go to the school, and all these other things was just running through my mind. None of that ended up happening, but that was a potential consequence of me drinking irresponsibly, And my relationship to alcohol at that point was just partying and turning up without really assessing what I had to do the next day or how far I was taking it. It was more like a social thing where, like, oh, yo, we drinking? I bet we drinking. Like, it was not even something I questioned before. So that's something that I have made a habit of doing now. Like, I question when or why I'm using a substance. And if I'm okay with it, for real okay with it, not lying to myself, not trying to deceive myself so I can get the next fix or whatever I'm feeling, then is when I'll take the substance and I'll relax. I'll enjoy it. So that will bring me to my next drug of choice, because I don't take a lot of drugs for real. To be honest with you, I don't drink right now. Currently at 30, I'll drink maybe on celebrations. So on my 30th, if I had some wine, that's usually what I do. I don't do anything harder than that. That's the day. Some of y'all are like, man, dang, no drinking at 30, but yeah, like, for me, that's where I'm at, and I think that's a personal choice based on my relationship with alcohol. Like, me and alcohol, we not that cool. That's not bae. that's not the one for me. Now, me and weed, we gotta talk about it. So my first introduction to weed, I didn't start smoking weed until grad school. So when I was in grad school, the first time I actually smoked was with my ex-girlfriend. So I remember getting high, and it was like one of the most amazing feelings I had because I was in a good environment. Everything was set up, it was cool. Um, Environment's key, especially when you're first doing something, and you want to be aware of how much the substance you're taking, et cetera, et cetera. So again, I'm not anti drugs all the way. I'm more so pro positive relationships with anything that you put in your body. That goes for food, substances, anything. But for now, we're just talking about weed. I was in a good space. She set me up. My ex set me up to succeed and have a good high, a good first high experience. So, um, from then on, I casually smoked here and there. Uh, Maybe like once a month, like probably less than that, because I didn't have access to it that much in grad school. At least I didn't think I did. If you want to get weed and you know how to get weed, you can get it. But back then, it was like if I went over to my friend's house who had it, then I might take like a hit from the bong or something like that, and then that would be it. It's pretty much all the access I had. So that was that. As I went out of grad school, I moved back to Jersey, started smoking on my own. And this is where it got a little different. My relationship to weed got a little bit different. So since then, I had broken up with my girlfriend. I could talk about that on a totally different live, or if y'all want, let me know. Put a like, put a comment. I am a relationship therapist, so if y'all want to hear about my ex, that relationship is a relationship that changed my life and changed everything. So, pretty good story. But I will only tell, I'm just kidding, I'll tell y'all. But I want some likes and some comments because, I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel. Keeping it honest with you people. But yeah, after we had broken up, my relationship with weed changed drastically. And not necessarily for the best. So I started smoking heavily and using it to cope because back then, this was like around 2016-ish, 2016, 2015 when I graduated from grad school, Northwestern University. Shout out to them. Shout out to the degree. Thank you. And the knowledge. But yeah, when I started smoking around that time, it was different because I wasn't smoking for leisure or enjoyment. I was more so smoking to numb some of the pain that I was feeling from the heartache. Not gonna lie. And that's where things get a little bit difficult. That's when you have to analyze your relationship with your smoking, with whatever you're doing, with your drinking, And I also wasn't sure what I was putting into my body. That's another thing. So if you're going to consume a substance, you have to know exactly what it is, how it affects you, and what it does to your mood and your behaviors, preferably prior to you ingesting it. That's the key. I didn't really have that. I was picking up weed from like the local, local plug. Like whoever had it. And I didn't know what strain. I didn't know whether it was indica, whether it was sativa, which is very important, very, very important to all of my weed smokers. Y'all know, that's the difference between what kind of high you gonna get. Whether it was a hybrid, none of that stuff. I was just like, you got weed, I'm gonna get high. So I would end up smoking these things that would that would ultimately make me feel sluggish, make me feel down, make me feel more depressed or sad about my situation. Sometimes it would make me reflect. Sometimes it would make me feel good and joyous. Sometimes it would make the music sound amazing. That's weed in general. It helped with my appetite, So I've had struggles with my appetite before, where it's like, depending on my mood, you ever heard of someone who's an emotional eater, in the sense that they overeat? Well, I'm kind of like the opposite. So I'm an emotional undereater, if that makes sense. So if I'm like really sad or really going through stuff, it would take a lot for me to eat. I would say the right amount of nutritious foods for my body to function at high level. So I wouldn't say I was starving myself, but it would be like I would skip meals and do other things because it was like I didn't care. I was more concerned about how I was feeling than how I operating and making sure that my body was in a good space. So that was pretty difficult. But that was my relationship to weed. So I figured out certain things about weed that I like that helped my appetite. It sometimes did make me feel more reflective and creative when it comes to music, when it comes to just my thoughts, like thinking and reflecting on how my relationship ended, what causes of it were my fault, what things were on her end, how can I do better in future relationships. So some of that stuff was like, just putting me in the space, a relaxed space to think about some of those questions that, I might not have been thinking about if I was just drunk, But that was my relationship to weed. And I slowly morphed and shifted that as I moved actually out to California. So fast forward, moved to Oakland, California. That's where I'm at right now. My home, Oakland. I love it. And I was intentional about the weed that I was getting. I started learning about strains. I started learning about what things make me feel what and how I like to use it and what time of day I like to use it and what weed should I smoke for the weekend and what weed should I smoke during the week when I am feeling like I need to increase my appetite or do other things. So I started to learn, and I'm still learning to this day. One of my aspirations that I'll share this with y'all is to get my foothold in the cannabis industry in some way so that I can maybe, if that means getting my own strain, if that means whatever, but just combining that with mental health, because the things that I'm talking about right now, I think if a lot more people understood or were able to break down this relationship aspect of the substances they're taking, especially when it comes to weed, they would make better decisions when it comes to how they're going about smoking. And it takes the guilt factor off, man. It really does. Because a lot of times these drugs have been stigmatized and the users of these drugs have been stigmatized to the point where you feel bad. And it leads you to do certain things in secret or maybe take higher doses because you want it to last longer. And those things actually have worse repercussions, So if I take a gummy, right, and I'm trying to stay high throughout the whole day because I know I won't get a chance to sneak in and take another one, that could be putting me in a really bad place really quickly, and I might not even make it to the next the next event or whatever else it might be or agenda you have that day, because you knocked out from the gummy all them grams that you took earlier. So it's a balancing act. It really is a balancing act. So after analyzing all that stuff, when I came to Oakland, I started learning that I do like to smoke early in the morning, because what that does for me is it allows me to reflect when nobody else is around. So if I wake up early, like around 5 o'clock in the morning, I take a couple of puffs. Not a lot, nothing crazy, not high off my mind where I can't function, but a couple puffs. I'm reflecting on what I want to do today. I'm making intentions. I'm manifesting things. I'm being intentional about what I want to do within the structure of my day. And then from there, I execute. Because guess what I'm smoking, y'all? I'm smoking sativa. I'm smoking. So for those of y'all who don't know, all right, weed connoisseurs such as me. Weed connoisseur. Anyway, sativas are the high energy, more vibrant head highs that you're looking for when it comes to weed. Indica is more the laid back, relaxed body high. So those are the differences. And the hybrids are usually a mix in between. And you have different mixes within those mixes. So you can have a sativa dominant hybrid, meaning that it's going to be more of a head high, but it's going to also affect your body as well. But you're going to feel the head high more so than just the body one. Or you can have an indica dominant hybrid, which is just the opposite, where it's like you're feeling the body more, but you get a little bit of a head high. So it's like, okay, all right. For me, I love sativas or hybrids. I do not mess with indicas unless I have an injury. So again, knowing what you're taking. Like if you have certain pains or injuries, indicas are great for that. That's a great way to relax your body, make sure that everything's good. They have CBD oils and all these other things. So there's a whole bunch of things that you can do within cannabis. It's not just the THC weed, getting high. There's also other ways that you can do it, and that's what I meant by like, that's what I mean by knowing your relationship to a substance, because substances in themselves aren't bad. Like, it's how we use them or potentially abuse them, and unfortunately, how we're introduced to these substances make a huge difference on our relationship. So my relationship to alcohol was binge drinking, and that led to me binge drinking for a long period of time. But luckily, I still knew and saw the side effects of binge drinking from just seeing my peers and everything else that they were doing. And I figured honestly, like, I'd do this for a little while, but then when it kind of caught up to me in a legal way, I was like, I'm good off this, at least on the hard liquor and the drinking excessively. Now, was that the last time I got drunk? Hell no. Same thing with weed. I know my relationship to it now. Was this like the last time that I smoked to I guess like maybe suppress or mask my feelings, or maybe to cope with my feelings? Actually, yes. But I think it's because I've gotten to an older or a more mature state within my relationship. So I use the word relationship because that's the way I look at it. I really do see it as like, if you had a boyfriend or a girlfriend, some type of partner, how y'all met, that's gonna be the spark. That's gonna be the connection. Like, ooh, damn girl, damn weed, you kind of thick. Ooh, let me hit that. Let me kiss you real quick. That's gonna be your relationship. If it feels good, great. But if that drug, that substance, if the weed is calling you at 4 a.m. and you can't sleep, or you can't sleep without coming over to her house, that's disrupting you. For me, it's scheduled. It's like, yeah, 5 a.m. I know I'm smoking. I'm getting everything done. Usually I'm super productive in the morning. I'm trying to get like bare minimum half of the things that are on my list done that I wanted to accomplish in the morning. So by the time it hits like 9 o'clock, I'm kind of like, damn, chilling. After that, I do some more work. And then if I want to smoke, I don't feel bad about it, because it's like I've already done the things I want to do. It's probably helping out my appetite again, because I'm taking the sativa. I'm not going to sleep. I'm not feeling tired. I'm not feeling drowsy or any of that other stuff. And then I'm not overdoing it. I'm not like smoking like a pound of weed to where I'm incoherent and I can't speak on a live when I just got off of work. You know what I mean? I just got done seeing clients. I'm able to still function and do all these things. And right after this, I'm about to smoke some weed and relax and chill out for the rest of the day. Maybe make a couple more beats. But that's it. That's what it's really about, man. It's your relationship to these things. And if you can pay attention to your relationship to the substances that you take, you can have an advantage over a lot of other people when it comes to enjoying your life, living your life, being social, and enjoying some of these substances guilt-free. Because that's another thing. I think a lot of us feel that guilt, and it leads us to do what I said before, like either overindulge in moments because we feel like, man, this might be my last chance to get high, this, whatever, or to just overdo it and overcorrect in certain areas. So if you know and understand your relationship with it, I think it'll go a long way. When it comes to cautionary tales, I would say, man, let's use DMX situation as a way to learn. Again, not shaming, not trying to be on that BS. Like, if you're one of those people who is just gung-ho on trying to diss or disrespect DMX, or just blame him and shame him and, like, do all that judgy stuff, I mean, you could just click off my page. That's not what I'm about. I'm a damn therapist. Why would I even... Come on. Anyways, you bugging. So you have to learn how to take the lessons, if there's anything, and I pray that he recovers. But if he doesn't, man, even if he does, we need to take the lessons of his life and understand that, like, he's been struggling with that relationship for a while, and it's connected to trauma, it's connected to a whole bunch of things. So he might be struggling with dual relationships, like the relationship between the drug and him, and the relationship between what that drug was either fueling or masking him from challenging or tackling on his own. And sometimes it's just a journey, man. It's a back and forth. You're not always going to be 100% sober. You're not always going to be 100% like perfect. And that's okay. The biggest thing is that you try to show up every day. If you do have an addiction problem, or if you feel like your relationship with whatever substance it is, you don't like it. Let's say you're watching right now and you're like, man, also, you kind of spitting them facts right now. Damn, I do be smoking a lot, or like whatever it is. Because again, no judgment. Weed is the heaviest thing I do. Actually, that's a lot. I will talk about mushrooms on another date. That's for another video. But we'll talk about that. But relatively speaking, weed that's it. I'm good. I am like, if people need to get the extra high, I'm good. I'm not one of those people. Let's say that you are and you don't like your relationship with whatever substance it is, maybe this is the time where you can try to reflect and analyze and try to switch things up, maybe little by little. Some people like going cold turkey, and that works for them. But for other people, it is gradual. It is a back and forth. It is sometimes you take one step back and then 2 steps forward, but then you still take 1 step back, and it's that progress. But you're making progress. You're changing your relationship, and you're trying to be proactive within that. And if you're doing that, I'm proud of you already. Already you're doing something that is extremely difficult, because I don't know your history. If you're comfortable and you're watching this and you want to share your story below, that's amazing, because I think that will help even more people. I'm all about that vulnerability, being honest, because I think from that's how we grow. But I think that's it, man. I think that's all I had to say about just drugs, my story. Hope you enjoyed my story. I might go into more details if you like hearing about just the man behind the beats and the man behind the therapy, the man behind the mental health for artists and all that good stuff. But yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up on that. Hopefully what I said can be beneficial to whoever's watching, man. And once again, prayers, positive vibes, energy towards DMX. Hopefully, we replaying this and everybody's just clapping it up because he made a full recovery, and he's talking about his own journey already. Hopefully he's joining me on encouraging other artists to take care of their mental health and analyze their relationship with whatever substance or drugs they're taking. But that's it for me today. I will catch y'all on the next live, on the next video. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been Oh So Smart from OhSoSmartProductions.com. Peace!